Hello and welcome to Caring for Me, Caring for You, a thought and a prayer for the week. And it has been quite a week. No one can argue with that. As I was preparing for this program and for taping it, I went, of course, to our book that we're using, Peace Be Still Prayers and Affirmations for Family Caregivers. And as I opened it, I realized that the next prayer, and I had decided that I would do them sequentially and let divine providence go. Well, the title for this prayer is entitled Anger. And at first I thought, ooh, and then I thought, thank you. Because there's a great deal of anger, a great deal of fear that is taking place. Now, before I go into sharing the prayer itself, I want to just chat with you for a moment. Because as family caregivers, this is a very, very difficult time. There are many changes happening. I've been on the phone with people who are very stressed with the regulations for the costs of medicine being so drastically injured, hurt, and they'll rise to huge numbers. It's a tragedy. It's something that's going to take time. But in the present, and that's where we are, in the present, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of fear, and I'm not talking politically. The political system has had its day. The decision was made, a president was elected and inaugurated. Now we move on. But that is a very difficult time. And we've got to be honest. There are many things that are happening that are not helping family caregivers, that are not helping the family of man. They may be good for the very wealthy, but the country is not made up of only wealthy people. I know I certainly am not one. But before we talk about some of the specifics with anger and with fear, I want to share that in writing this book, which I wrote after the death of my late husband nearly 14 years ago now, I wanted to share what had been an enormous source of help for me. And that was my idea, and it continues in my life, of bookending my day in times of prayer and meditation. And I wanted to find prayers and ideas for meditation that would resonate with people of varied faiths and people of no faith. And I feel we have succeeded with that. But we also had prayers in here, and what today is a great example. Not every prayer was written with mourning involved. This is a prayer that's much more focused at the end of the day. And I can't stress enough the importance of, at the end of the day, taking a moment to review the day. Say, yes, this went well. I could have certainly done better on that. And not getting hung up in judgment, but just acknowledging it. Let those feelings go by. And then let them go. What lesson might I have learned? And I certainly learned a lot of them. This wasn't the way to have handled that situation. But perhaps this might be. And I will know that for the future. Ralph Waldo Emerson has a poem, and I'm just going to read it to you because it's so perfectly wonderful. I have kept it very close at hand because I like to think of it at the end of the day. The suggestion: finish each day and be done with it. I like that idea. You've done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities, no doubt, crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with old nonsense. That's powerful. That's saying we did our best, we were present, we cared, and we honor the successes, and we learn from the things that we wish we had done better. But we give them to the divine and say thank you. And then we rest, because we need a rest that's peaceful, not a rest that is filled with recitation and review. You've done the review and you have concluded it. So rest comfortably. Rest knowing that you have been a wonderful family caregiver. I can't stress that enough. And then in the morning, begin the new day in the present with gratitude, knowing you are not alone. Now, this prayer is entitled Anger, but underneath all of anger, and we hear it in the prayer, is fear. And fear is an emotion that undergirds so much of other reactions. I want you to hear this because it's very important to me that you hear this, both as family caregivers and both as people who are living in a very strange world here in America. We have been programmed to live in fearful vibrations. You know, we talk about the vibrations all the time, and we want to stay up with gratitude, with love, with joy. But fear is right here at the bottom, and it can be very powerful. We have been programmed to live in a fearful vibration from childhood. Why? Because a fearful person is obedient. Mind that. Fear is a weapon that can be used to control the mind. A conscious person, a person who is mindful, a person who notices what they're noticing, what they're feeling, a conscious person leans into their fear and discomfort. They don't run from it. They question things. They challenge things and don't blindly believe what they are told. As you awaken and walk this path, you will feel very isolated at times. But please know you are not alone. And we're going to see that more and more. You are not alone. Now, let us hear this prayer for the end of the day, no matter what time it is for you, but it's something you might want to play at the end of your day, just to use it to bring conclusion to this day and give thanks. Today was not truly the success I hoped for. Everything seemed to overwhelm me. I responded again and again in ways that I did not want to. I kept feeling angry. What was it? Why? How come? As I pause and reflect, I come to God for guidance. God, as I understand that word, knowing that you, O God, have already forgiven me. Give me the grace to do the same. For just a moment, that may be all I can muster. I sit quietly and take long, slow, deep breaths, renewing my spirit and love. I begin to be centered and I begin to be calm. I begin to see the fear that is behind all my actions and reactions. Fear of being alone, fear of letting go, fear of accepting your will, for it's very different from mine, strange, new, and unfamiliar. When fear comes, I burst out in anger, expressed in many ways at others and myself. I respond in ways I do not want to act out. Oh, Father, Mother God, thank you for this reality of my humanity, my brokenness, and my limitations. Heal me, strengthen me, and bless each person against whom I have raged, reacted, or behaved inappropriately. I am truly sorry. Help me to forgive myself. Help me to recenter myself in you and know your peace. Help me to grow through this day, through this behavior, and through this realization that it is fear that underlies so many of my emotions. This is not who you created me to be. Help me to hear your words. Be not afraid, for I am your God and will strengthen you. I know this is true. In rest, in peace, I give thanks for love, goodness, and serenity. O source of all peace, in you I trust. Amen and amen. I hope that has given you some thoughts, some encouragement, because we're going to have challenges ahead. Life is filled with challenges, and presently we have some that we are sharing. But resolutions come when we know we are not alone, when we don't move and act from fear, but rather acknowledge it and come together. And that's where our support groups, where our active groups can be such an important part for us. We'll be talking more about it. There's no question, because it's the reality of January 2025. And you and I, together with many others, will seek the good. Remember that phrase we talked about before? All is well, though it certainly doesn't seem it. Right now, everything that's going on, and out of it, if we work together, will come our highest good and the best for all of us. We are not alone. And it's pieces of you and pieces of me, pieces of the divine within you, however you name it, and pieces of the divine within me, that when we unite, we have strength we didn't know we had. And we give thanks. As we always say, onward in love and caregiving. Namaste. God bless. I'm praying for you, and I know you're praying for me. Together, we walk on, walking each other home. God bless. I'll see you next week.